Good morning. Welcome to Father's Day here at Unity of Walnut Creek. We are in that spiritual journey that connects us with this divine presence, and today we come together to open our hearts and make that deep connection for each one of us. And we're glad that you're able to join us. We invite you to reach deep within and touch the beauty, the wisdom, the magnificence of the spiritual being that you are. Thank you for being here with us.
Good morning. I was waiting for a gong, but I don't see a gong, so we're going to go ahead. Good morning. This is Unity of Walnut Creek. I'm Pam Whitman, the choir director, and it is summertime. School is out, so we're real ready to get going. I'd like you to stand up, and we're going to sing a couple songs, and please join us. It's a wonderful song. Can you lead us into that one, David?
I am listening to the music of the Holy, Holy Spirit. Oh, what a song! All day long, I will listen.
And I like to say the boys in the corner, but this is Fusion, and they're accompanying. And today we have a guest soloist, Beth Halpert. Is that right? Beth Halpert. So thank you for being here. My name is Ron, and I'm a licensed Unity teacher here at Unity of Walnut Creek. And it is my pleasure to say welcome. Welcome. We are glad you're here this morning. And if you're new to Unity, a special welcome to you. Thank you for being with us, and know that you are part of our spiritual community at the first instant you walked in. Well, actually, the first instant you thought about coming. And to our friends online, if you help me say hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. And also, please know that you are part of our spiritual community, and we are now whole as you are watching us. Mm-hmm. So here at Unity, we focus on universal truths. And one of those truths is that we respect every path that leads us to that one source in and all around us, Divine Spirit. In fact, we know that there are as many paths on this planet as there are hearts on this planet. And so you may hear different teachings and different lyrics and songs coming from these different teachings. That's because we know, as I said before, each path leads to Divine Spirit, the one that's within us all and all around us. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And part of that spiritual path is having an attitude of gratitude. You say that with me? An attitude of gratitude. So in a moment, we're going to claim that one power within the universe with our affirmation. But before we do, let's take a deep breath. And as we exhale, we're just going to say thank you. Okay? So take a deep breath. Exhale and say thank you. And then let's say our affirmation. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And just soak that in and know it to be true. And let's repeat that. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And just soak that in ever deeper into every cell in your body. And once again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And they just say, yummy. So please join us in our next musical selection.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for the
Take that deep breath through your heart as we continue into this experience of prayer, of connection with this divine presence. And we take a moment in this experience of prayer for this blessing from our heart ministers. Bobby?
Prayer of compassion for the Orlando tragedy. Mother, Father, God, God of love, compassion, healing, and peace, we pray with and for the victims of the Orlando tragedy and their families and community. We open our heart in compassion and peace for the souls of those brothers and sisters whose lives were taken. We send the power of your healing love to those who were injured. We offer comfort for their families as they strive to heal. We offer support for the entire community of Orlando as they work to bring peace and renewal. We offer forgiveness to the gunmen. In your care and keeping, we surrender this tragedy and all those impacted by it. Thank you, God, for your ever-flowing love. And so it is.
Again, taking that deep breath through our hearts. As we journey deeper into this experience of prayer. 2 days ago, I was sitting in the prayer chapel at Silent Unity, where that vigil of prayer has been unending for over 125 years, praying with millions of people. And just as our heart ministers acknowledged that the Orlando tragedy, I was aware of how many people were there praying with people all over the world for that and the many experiences of pain and challenge. And what we know is that deep healing, that transformation comes from this divine connection. So in our prayer time, we turn within and reach for that deep and beautiful, infinite connection of divine love. And let the music be a part of that invitation into that very center of our hearts. Father, Mother, God, as we take this journey deep within, knowing that you call us to that infinite connection, that awareness of your presence. We invite our minds to release and let go of all the many things that have been challenged in this time, whether within this morning, this week, or this part of our lives. For we know that you are in the midst of all. We know that your love is the only true reality of being itself. And we take this sacred moment to open our hearts to your love, to be filled with the beautiful truth. There is only love. Your presence, every moment, every experience, every thought, every feeling. Your presence in the hand that reaches out to us, in the hand we reach out to another. Your presence in the compassion we feel for those in moments of struggle, for the joy we feel for those in moments of triumph, for the love we feel for all beings all the time. For you are this presence and love flowing in and through our hearts right now. And so, with grateful hearts, we let go, surrendering to your pure presence of divine love. We do so by entering into this sacred stillness, the beautiful silence of mind, the beautiful serenity of heart, and that stillness to which the Master called us when he said, "Peace, be still." Peace, be still. Peace, be. beloved Father, divine strength and power, divine love flowing in and through our beings. With grateful hearts, we send this beautiful love that it might bless, heal, uplift, bring harmony, and bring peace. And together, we radiate this love. And today, on this Father's Day, we take this first moment to send this love to those who were father to us, those who were physical father, and yet all of those who stepped into that role as fathers in our world, who held in that honored space. And we say thank you. With grateful hearts, that love blesses through us. And as that beautiful gratitude and love fill our hearts, we expand it now into each one who is dear to us, holding, blessing, guiding, healing. We send that love across the spiritual community, touching each one and blessing everything in their world. This divine love flows through our hearts. We embrace every prayer request brought here. And we know with such gratitude that each one is enfolded in divine love and lifted to that which is the highest. And from this place of prayer, this love through our hearts flow out as waves of blessing across the communities in which we live, across our nation, on to touch the peoples of the world, bringing forth for all peace, wisdom, awareness. We send this love as it joins with all who join us in prayer, whether in mosque or synagogue, temple or church, whether gathered at home or on the hillside. For in seeking to know you, we are all one. And this radiant love flows forth from our hearts as we send it to this beautiful earth to bring balance to all her systems, to bring rain where it is dry, calm where there is storm, blessings upon her creatures. And this divine love flows through our hearts. We send this love about the earth that it might touch the heart of every single person in the earth. For, beloved presence, you are that love in every heart. And in this love, we are one. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. Please join me. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. And again, divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. And once again, divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. It is so. Immersed in that infinite love. Amen.
Every rolling stone gets to feeling alone when love, sweet love, seems far away. I'm a rolling stone who's been so alone until today. Ba-ba-da-dum. Gonna take a very special journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna make a very special journey to restore my inner peace. Got my source, I got my inspiration. I got myself back in the flow. When I'm there, I'm in appreciation. I can feel my love start to grow. Loving, that's the path we're on, it's loving. That's what we're about, it's loving. Get into that place where love abides. It's here inside. Gonna take a very special journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a very special journey to restore my inner peace. Loving, that's the path we're on, it's loving. That's what we're about, it's loving. Get into that place where love abides. It's here inside. Gonna take a very special journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna make a very special journey to restore my inner peace. Gonna make a very special journey to restore my inner peace.
Well, good morning. So, today you get the second string of the platform announcers, okay? So I get to clue you in on a number of things that are about to happen here at Unity. And there's, the truth is, this week is a tremendously powerful week in just the experience of spiritual learning and growth. So I want to tell you about that, but also I want to just make you aware of a couple things that are going to be coming up a little way down the road. It's not that long until our Tacos del Sol event, which is just a fabulous party here at Unity, and it's put on by our men's group. And those of you who have hung around here a bit know that whatever they do with enthusiasm, fabulous food, and lots of fun. So take a look. All this is in your bulletin. And then little farther on is our 5th annual Jazz on the Lawn. And you want to really start getting your tickets and get that on your calendar, because this is a wonderful experience, and we get to do it New Orleans style this this time, so it's going to be great. Now, this week, each evening, Monday through Thursday, Reverend Sheila is presenting a program we call She. And it is an in-depth exploration of the divine feminine within each of us. And she does it by taking us through some of the female leaders that we find in the Bible. And as she looks at it, it helps us learn each of those different dynamics of bringing true balance between the male and the female parts of each of us, which is where the great potential for spiritual enlightenment lives. So a powerful thing, something that we've been looking forward to for a long time. And so that's this week, each evening, Monday through Thursday. And then Saturday, I will be doing the cut-through workshop. Now, this is many of you are aware that we have regular times when people are led through an experience of cut-through. This is a heart math technique that is so powerful, and it's something that we've come to use here a lot because it is designed to bring the spiritual energy in and through the heart into the deep structures that cause limit within us, and to transform those by that spiritual energy. So this is the one time during the year when I actually teach people how to do that. And this is the only place in the world where you're going to learn that, folks, because they are very gracious in allowing me to do that, and they do not teach that elsewhere in this way. So it's a very unusual opportunity, and it is this Saturday 9 to 1. So 4 hours we will journey deep within and learn those skills. And there is always so much happening here. Be sure and check your bulletins and the Centerpoint newsletter, because good things are just constantly unfolding. And let's see, I know there's something that the person. Okay, yeah, this is the point where take a moment and greet those around you until you hear our gong or the music starts. Hey there, John.
Are in charge of the father part, and that's you guys right here. Okay, you're going to sing with them. Now the next group, it's the mother part, and you've got the tenors. You're going to watch them, okay, guys? And over here, you're the spirit part, and you've got the basses and the altos. All right. So here we go. We're going to start with part one. That's you guys. Father, I adore you. Mother. May my life be for you. Spirit.
Spirit, I adore you. May my life be for you. I adore you. Spirit, I adore you. May my life be for you. I adore you. Spirit, I adore you. May my life be for you. How I love you. Spirit, I adore you. May my life be for you. How I love
One more time. Thank you. That was great. Okay, kids, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
I'd like to build a world of home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's the song I hear. Let the world sing today. A song of peace that echoes on and never goes away. Put your hands in my hand. Let's begin today. Put your hand in my hand. Help us find the way. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's the song we hear.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Father's Day. So let's just acknowledge our fathers present. Will our fathers, if you're a father, please stand and let us acknowledge you. Okay, yeah. Okay, Now, grandfathers. Okay, our grandfathers. Great grandfathers. Oh, I got to sit down. Hey! All right. What a treat. I really love Father's Day. On Mother's Day, I had to wear my suit and tie because that's what my mother would have wanted. My father was an engineer, and anything that's comfortable. So and I have a Father's Day gift to myself. One of the things between my father and I was a deep sense of being the seeker, of always discovering more about the spiritual self and the looking for news, studying what was coming out. And one of the things that we loved within my family, but it was deeply a passion of my father, was to go and hear those teachers that were bringing that vital wisdom of spiritual growth into our world. And so for Father's Day, I'm giving myself that experience. We have within our midst a wonderful teacher. And the difficulty is that every time he teaches, I have committee meetings. So I don't get. So I'm going to ask him to be up here with us today. Garret has been a leader in the Theosophy movement, been president of some of their gatherings, and lectured on 3 continents on this beautiful wisdom. But the truth is his spiritual path extends far by that. He's a master teacher of the Course in Miracles and is one of those people that is constantly inviting all of those around him into deeper exploration and understanding of who we are as spiritual beings and how we live as spiritual beings. So please help me welcome Garret Reigg. Garret, great to have you here.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I hope I can live up to them. It's quite an honor to speak to the congregation. It's always very exciting, and I hope I can give you a few good points today, because the wonderful thing about this age is that we're in an age of information, and especially the psychological world has become very sophisticated. And modern science now is able to verify lots of things that we believed, we had faith in, but we weren't sure of. And in fact, a lot of the new findings we're going to find out of science and psychiatry particularly go back and help us to understand and appreciate the ancient teachings from thousands of years ago. And that's really fun for me to compare those. But I'm here especially today because we are still in shock from another sad event in Orlando. In our country, America itself especially has a very violent past and present. It's part of our energy and our history. But right now, we're also facing a new crisis that we may not be aware of. You know that sadly, handguns cause about 25,000 deaths every year. And automobile accidents cause about 30,000 deaths. It's a lot of people dying. But something causes even more deaths now. Just in the last few years, that has doubled the number of people dying. And you probably know what it is. We have an epidemic of death from drug overdoses. We've had a huge expansion of drugs for depression. And medicine didn't believe there were many risks to these, and we're finding out now that they're being highly abused. So part of my motivation today is a sad story, just to tell you that I advise a fraternity at Sonoma State. And last year, a wonderful young man, Francis, chatted with me briefly in November and told me how he was excited about his job as a cameraman for the 49er football team. And he had a great life. He was going to graduate soon, had a wonderful girlfriend. Everything seemed to be good in his life. But like a lot of young people, he partied during the semester break, had a lot of alcohol, and apparently he also tried some pills, some opioids, painkillers, anti-depressants. And 3 o'clock in the morning, they found him lying down on the floor next to his bedroom in the hallway. He was already dead. It was quite a shock to the university, and it meant that for a year the fraternity was on probation because they had a culture of alcohol, at least, binging. We found out over that year that a third of the students were regular users of marijuana, and many of them had cocaine and other drugs. Shocking to me. I was their advisor. I had no idea. And then I studied and I realized that from age 18 to 44, 12% of Americans are taking antidepressant drugs legally. And a lot more people are taking them illegally. Among white middle-class women in America between the ages of 40 and 60, 30 to 40% are taking antidepressants. Some of them taking 2 or 3. And half of them don't even see their doctor annually. So they're sort of on their own. It's a lot of drugs going around. We thought they're all good for us, but they're not. So part of what I want to share today is how do we get away from the depression, sadness in our culture. A lot of this we know comes from the competitive nature that we've inherited as a very pioneering capitalist society where families break up to travel across the world or across the country, where we have a great deal of money and freedom, and that means also that we now have a lot of divorce and broken families. So the biggest causes of depression are unemployment and divorce or family problems. But the solution is not drugs. The side effects are not worth it. The risks are huge. So the good news is that science, especially with the new magnetic resonant MRI, magnetic resonant imaging, can see what goes on in your brain. And with our chemical analysis, we know that the brain controls a lot of hormones and chemicals that tell your body how to react. So if I tell you, no, 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 don't, you can't, unfortunately, you've all just had a bunch of chemicals released in your brain from that little bit of outside negativity. These are deleterious. Almost anything negative, unhappy, unpleasant is a trauma to your brain and to your body. And science can now see this and show it on videos. It's amazing. They can see the different parts of your brain, especially when we say no, immediately the amygdala lights up, gets really active. That's not good. Especially one side of the amygdala sends out all the chemicals that are made for you to survive in an emergency, like adrenaline. But they're not good for you. They're the source of most diseases because they reduce your resistance. They stop your organs from working and doing their work. So these wonderful scientists and psychiatrists at the University of Pennsylvania studied over 1,000 different research studies around the world and came up with the 8 ways that you can improve your brain, that you can make yourself smarter, you can have a better memory, and you can have brain longevity. And along with that goes your general health. And these are real simple, easy things. Now, these are the ones that science has verified, sometimes with 50 or 100 double-blind studies. So we're quite sure of them. There's many others that are really good for you, like good nutrition, obviously, but they're too complicated for science to give general and firm answers on. So we have a list. I'm going to start with number 8 and work up to the most important. Because number 8 is kind of fun. It's something that the last time the choir was here, they were singing these great Broadway songs, and one of them was Put on a Happy Face. And another one was Accentuate the Positive. Okay? Sounds fun, sounds nice, very pleasant, but you know what? Good medicine. When you smile, even if you don't mean it, you smile, it gives good brain chemicals, endorphins, makes you feel good, and it's good for your body and your brain. So when they tell people to smile, they can give them tests afterwards and see that they do better on them. This is another way they test these reactions. And when you do favors for people, even little things, it makes a difference in how your brain works. So they had an experiment where the patients were giving little packets of jelly beans and asked to give them to their doctor before the doctor gave them very important diagnosis of their problems and their diseases, some of them very difficult ones. So they did this by randomly giving it to some patients and not other patients. The patients who gave their doctors jelly beans had the doctors give 20% better diagnostic results. They figured out what was going wrong with these people, which is life or death. They saved lives because of the jelly beans. A little bit of happiness, a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of appreciation makes your brain work better, helps you to be more objective, gets you out of any funk you might be in. So smile, spread happiness. The next one is something that you probably all hear about. They advertise it on the radio and other places. What's good for your brain is, yes, sleep. Not yet proven, though. And thinking. In fact, sleep is so important, it doesn't even get on this list because we assume most people are getting the sleep, and it's only if you don't. But these are things you really need to do intentionally. So this one is just think. Intellectual challenges are good for your brain. Well, my mother, who kept her brain really good until she was 94, used to do crossword puzzles. And she'd heard that this is good for your brain. In fact, it's good short term, but it doesn't have much effect long term. What's good for your brain is really big ideas, okay? Really trying to think out some difficult problem, maybe in your family or your relationships, maybe thinking about metaphysics, philosophy, peace on earth, the next big invention. So playing games can be good. They found that older people who played chess actually reversed their dementia. Chess is very good for thinking. Now, you can even do video games. They can be helpful for your brain development. But guess what? If you do the violent, negative video games, it's really poison. It's negative to your brain development and your happiness. So let's see, number 6, going up the list. Number 6 best way to help your brain? Relax. Now that doesn't mean being a couch potato. What it means is to consciously relax your muscles. Breathe deep. It's kind of what we do before we meditate, okay? Put yourself into a relaxed mood. This kind of goes along with the positive thinking, because when you relax, you're actually more aware of your surroundings. You're more capable of thinking clearly. So you can do this also with gentle music. That helps you relax. You can do rituals, even knitting. If it's kind of rote, can be good for you. Remember the rosary beads? People would repeat something like a mantra or count their rosary beads. That's been shown to be helpful to your brain too. The 5th most important one is one I don't think anybody will guess. It has to do with your mouth. It's not kissing. It's not singing. Maybe singing has benefits, I'm sure, a lot of great benefits. But this one is yawning. Now, yawning sounds kind of silly. What does that have to do with your brain? And isn't it rude to yawn in front of people? Well, I hope that changes. Because Yawning is really wonderful. They discovered 200 years ago, that opera singers who were nervous before their opening time on the stage learned to yawn as a way of stretching their neck muscles and relaxing in general. And when you yawn, you tend to breathe in a little deeper. All this is good for the brain. In fact, they say make yourself yawn 5 times, and it's the equivalent of a good cup of coffee. Makes you more alert. So when you're sleepy, the yawn is for a purpose, is to make you more awake and alert. They told college kids to yawn before taking tests. The ones who yawned 5 times did much better on the tests. Now, these things aren't universal. They're not guaranteed, but the average majority was a higher level. And so we know in general these things all help different people. So we're down to number 4. And it's kind of like relaxing. And we did it today, earlier. It's meditating. Meditating is good for your brain, so thank you, Reverend David. And you give us those beautiful meditations. We're giving a treat to the brain. You may have heard about the Dalai Lama sending over 7 or 8 of his best meditators to the University of Wisconsin. And they studied them, and they looked at what their brains looked like, and they found their brains were very different from other people's brains. And they found that when they meditated, they were in some higher state of brain waves. I forget the names of them. You have alpha, beta, gamma, theta. I think it was gamma or theta that they were in. And so they could see that meditation really does something. And then they took regular people and gave them 5 or 6 weeks of studying and doing meditation. And they could see changes in their brains within those 5 or 6 weeks. Pretty amazing. Now, we think those changes are good. One thing they do is increase the neurons. And you know how many neurons you have in your brain? Well, you've got 20 billion neurons. That's impressive. There's twice as many as any animal. Even the elephants and the whales with their giant brains only have 7 to 10 billion rather. But what's more impressive is each of those little neurons, they're little nervous cells basically, in your brain, are connected to hundreds, maybe thousands of other cells. Some, they don't know for sure. Sometimes they think they can connect to millions. And that's how you think. That's your computer. So these healthy things help those neurons to send out threads to connect to others. They call these synapses. Synapsis is the connection when you're actually doing the thinking and you're transferring information from one neuron to the other. And they do that through these little threads called dendrites. And when you have these bad emotions, negative emotions, you're killing the dendrites. You're making them starve and die. You're killing your brain. The good news is you can grow new dendrites and even new neurons. And that's something they only discovered 10 years ago. They call it plasticity of the brain. So you can bring it back. Number 3, third most important, is something I'm sure most of you know is good for your general health. You know, you should have a good diet. You should exercise, right? We all know exercise is good. And they say just taking a 20-minute walk each day is great for your health. But guess what? It doesn't do anything for your brain. The only exercise that they can see scientifically that helps your brain directly is aerobic exercise. In other words, you've got to run or swim or play tennis, ride your bike or something where you start breathing deeply. And that's a big secret, I guess, to the brain is it likes the oxygen, okay? So the more of that you do, the better. Now, the second most important one is the one I want to focus on today especially. And that is a way of stimulating your brain and keeping it healthy and really helping your whole life. Is what humans love to do. What makes us human? Talking, dialogue. But we're doing kind of one-sided right here. Social interaction is positive for long life, clear thinking. And again, when we talked about intellectual stimulation, you want your dialogue, if possibly, about big concepts. about God or evolution or, well, even what kind of car to buy, But talk about something that's happy and positive. If you're talking about problems and if you're on a negative wavelength, that's actually going to hurt your brain. So it's not just the exercise, it's not just the stimulation, it's also keeping yourself positive. That's why when we start to meditate, we sometimes guide it, and we put positive ideas out there. We put happy ideas. We bless the world. The Buddhist prayer for meditation is, may all beings be well, happy, and at peace. You're sending that out. That's positive for you and for the world. And that brings us to the most important and final, biggest benefit to your brain. This may not occur to you right away, but we're all here together partly for it. That's faith. Now, faith is kind of easy in church. It's faith in the psychiatrist's verbiage. Faith is really suspension of your doubts so that you really can focus on your beliefs and affirm them. And it has to be optimistic and positive. So faith in an authoritarian, negative father figure of God is not helpful to your brain. This is just science. I'm not making a judgment on certain other religions, but if you want brain health and you have a very limited negative idea of God as a punishing father figure, that's not healthy. That doesn't help with long life. It doesn't help with brain health. So even agnostics and atheists can have a great deal of faith. They may not have a faith in a deity the way other people do, but they have a faith in a purpose to life, in humanity in general, in history, whatever it might be. And it brings to mind Viktor Frankl, who I'm sure some of you may have read his books about the Holocaust and how people who went through all the suffering in the Nazi prison camps came out of it, and some people fell apart and were destroyed for life, and other people came back and flourished and contributed great things to the world like he did. And he said the difference was faith. And he said a lot of the Jews in those concentration camps lost their faith in God. But the ones that even lost that kind of basic faith still had oftentimes faith in humanity, faith in their Jewishness, faith in their own inner powers. So they had an optimistic view of life. And that's what makes the biggest difference. And that's what your brain wants. That's what your body thrives on. That's what you're here for, is to share, as we say, to share love. So those are the 8 big ones. And these are, for example, on faith. Let me just add that the Mayo Clinic, one of the most famous research hospitals, did a study, and it said, if you're optimistic, you will have fewer colds because you have better resistance. Your body works better with immunology. You will handle problems better. You will have better coping skills. And, let's see, there was one more pretty important, and I've got to go back to that, which was, it lowers your stress. And they're discovering more and more that most diseases occur because we're stressed out and our immune system isn't working well. So the Duke University did a study of optimists and pessimists. In almost every group that they studied, the pessimists always died earlier. The optimists live longer. Simple thing. Our bodies and our gut tell us what we need, and we have to be kind to it. So these handouts, the first one was the map of consciousness. If you didn't get one, there's more out there. And the map of consciousness just shows you those negative emotions. If you look down the middle column, it starts with shame and guilt and apathy and grief. These are all negative things. They get into fear, where at least you're aware. and then desire, or you want things. This is like little children growing up. Suddenly they want things. They know what they want. And then you get proud of yourself. And you get angry sometimes when you're not getting your way. Well, those are all progress. They're lower emotions. They're not as good for your heart. And then you get to the good ones: courage, neutrality, willingness, trust, optimism. Those are all the good ones. So the higher you go on this, it's a spiritual evolution. You know, we are spiritual beings using our brains. Our brains are our computers. And this is our kind of our checklist. So if you can take that home and take a look at it, think about it a little bit, I think you'll enjoy seeing the comparisons to the worldview on the left side, your life view of your own life, how you express it, the emotions you feel. Quite amazing. I don't agree with all of it, but it's a great step forward by a wonderful psychiatrist. And then techniques for meaningful dialogues. And if you look at these, most of them incorporate the same things that are good for your brain. You want your brain and your thoughts and your mind to be in the most positive place when you have important dialogues with people. So you can study these. They include relaxing and yawning, meditating, having positivity, deep values, and then obvious things like speak warmly and slowly. I'm still learning all these myself. I tend to run very fast in some of my talking. The number 11, listen to negativity. We all get criticism, disagreements, but listen to it without reaction or judgment. Then reframe it. And this is where I have to end with a story that relates to Father's Day, because aside from my own father, I was lucky to have a father figure when I went to work for a moving and storage company in Oakland. I was a college student. It was good money for the summer when they needed helpers. My boss, the truck driver, was an African-American fellow. He was already about 45 years old, which is old for that business because it takes a lot of muscle power moving furniture all day long. And I found out that Bill Buford, came from Oklahoma. It was hard to find a job, especially being African-American back then, and this was before the civil rights era. So he found a job with a all-black moving company called Cherry's Moving and Storage. And he only had 2 or 3 days of work a week. So he would go on his off days to Beacon's Moving and Storage, the biggest moving company in the country. And they had 50 drivers and helpers there. And he would ask for work. They don't hire blacks, sorry. They could tell him that to his face in those days. He hung around anyway. Maybe you'll need a helper. After 3 weeks of coming several times a week, finally they were short a man who didn't show up, who was sick. Bill, you want to come and go on this job? Okay. So he got 5 hours of work. 3 weeks later, they did it again. After 3 years of this, they finally hired him as a helper. And he did such a good job that in 6 months he was a driver. And a year after that, they started hiring other African Americans. When I got there, 10 to 15% of those 50 drivers were African American. I was pretty impressed. That was 1963, before the Civil Rights Act. So that was impressive to me. I worked with Bill that first summer, and we usually would break something every few moves. He was so careful. He was such a craftsman. We broke a couple things, but they were minor. We had no claims for insurance at all during the whole summer. Other drivers had 20 or 30 claims. He got the award. I was glad that he did. The next summer, I was there when they had an election for the union steward. There were only like 7 African Americans and all these white guys who were really rednecks. I mean, I got to tell you, in those days, they begrudgingly had Bill there, but they recognized his fortitude and his ability to communicate and be kind. They elected him shop steward, the top position for the union. That was an incredible breakthrough, because the union didn't even want to integrate. A few years later, I was in, quote, the war on poverty in Alabama, trying to help people out of, poverty, a dozen different ways. I realized that Bill Buford had helped himself out. He'd been an alcoholic, homeless guy before he got that first job at Cherry's. And I called him up when I got back. Actually, I went and visited him. And I was really impressed that this guy, who had only gotten married a few years before and was already 45 or 50, had adopted a little girl. And some years later, I found out he adopted 2 more. He had 3 little girls, all adopted, who he saved from homes that probably weren't that positive. And about 15 years later, when I called him, he told me that the girls were all doing great. They were all in school, doing good on their grades and sports and all the rest. One was already in college. Bill had never finished high school. So he did something great for the world as a late-coming father. So he was my mentor, and I only now appreciate how great he was. So I salute all the fathers and all the good they do in the world, and appreciate that I had not only a father, but a wonderful father figure. Thank you.
When we give ourselves the opportunity to really communicate in support. Oh, it didn't talk. That's right. Okay. This is where we give ourselves the opportunity to really communicate in support of each other. And we use the connection cards, the cards that are on the little clipboards in the back of the seat pockets. But the real purpose of this, the most important purpose, and it's so powerful here in our community, is this is where we get the opportunity to really put down our prayer requests. And those requests are prayed over by our entire team of heart ministers, and they are a part of our noon prayer times. So it's our opportunity to really reach out and deeply and strongly support each other with the consciousness and the power of prayer, and the opportunity to communicate with each other, particularly those who are new or looking for greater information about our community. So I invite you to take your connection card and fill that out, and be sure and put those people who are a part of your world and yourself on there, so we can be in support of you in prayer. And now let's take and bless our love offerings. I invite you to take that gift in your hand. One of the things that we try to do in unity is really become conscious of this flow of good through our lives. It is this moment when we're able to take that blessings that have flown into our lives and acknowledge that God is the source of that good, and that we give from that consciousness of love that is giving to us. So I invite you to take that, as you take your gift in your hand, feel that love as we, through that power of affirmative prayer, join in our prosperity blessing. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We are so blessed. Thank you, God.
Hello, welcome everybody. Are there any fathers in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Right on. Well, this is a special tribute to the fathers. I'm Dr. Beth. I am America's teenologist. psychologist for teens and parents and teens. And I've written a bunch of songs with my mom on emotional development of children. And this song today is in tribute. Thank you. And this song today is a tribute to all the dads. Have you ever had a child that doesn't do what you want him to do? Ever, once. So this concept is like, they go away, they come back. They go away, they come back, usually with their hand out. Give me some, give me some. So this song is about how they go away and they come back. But do you know what? We do the same thing with ourselves and our own little inner children. And we do this with God or Source or the universe. We forget that we're connected. So this is a song on coming and going. So have some fun.
This little game of coming back to you. It's my job to be secure and true. You mirror me and I will mirror you too. Tune into me so I can tune into you.
I like to be close on my terms.
Oh, yeah.
And then I like space to be me.
Just me.
I like to know what you think. And then test what I believe.
For me.
I like to know you are there.
For me.
So I can go explore everywhere.
Just me.
Right now I'm letting you know that I need to go.
This little game of coming back to you. It's my job to be secure and true. You mirror me and I will mirror you too. Tune into me so I can tune into you.
I will be right back if I'm staying on the right track. Next to you, I feel strong. And then I go play all alone. I need to know that you're there. Even when I'm mad, I need to know that you care. When I'm feeling sad,
This little game of coming back to you. It's my job to be secure and true. You mirror me and I will mirror you too. Tune into me so I can tune into you.
I want to test where I end, and then I know where you begin. You keep me safe as you can, so I can be as big as I am. I'm letting you know that I need some safety slack, and if I don't let you know, then I need some guidance back.
This little game of coming back to you. It's my job to be secure and true. You mirror me and I will mirror you too. Tune into me so I can tune into you.
I like to play with you and then play alone too. I like to spend time with you and then have some me time too. When I look away, that's your clue. And when I'm looking back, I hope I'm seeing you. 2, 3, 4.
This little game of coming back to you.
It's my job to be secure and true.
You mirror me and I will mirror you too.
Tune into me so I can tune into you. What's that? Tune into me. Come on.
Tune into me.
Tune into me so I can tune into you.
All right, let's embrace these beautiful beings with our heart and share our blessing together. Children, you are loved, special, and important. The light of God shines through you. And let's take hands and we'll share together our prayer of protection. And as we do that, keep a special blessing for these marvelous people who have been our choir for these last months, because they're going to take a break for a couple months and be back in the fall. So thank you all. It's been wonderful. My pleasure. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And our peace song. Oh, that's right. We won't this time. We'll do it the next service. Okay. Our peace song.
Peace song. Our peace song.
Are the love and the light and the peace in the earth right now. So let it shine and have fun.
Restore my